Good morning, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the mayor, the council members, the first responders of Morris Plains, the firefighters, the police officers, the EMTs. Thank you so much for what you do for Morris Plains. And I want to thank everyone here for coming out and remembering September 11th. I think it's something that's very, very important. And what I want to share with you today, I'm kind of excited, to be honest with you, because I've done events like this, but this is the first event where I've had so many children. And I want to tell each and every child here, you guys are my hero. And by you being here today, you're honoring all those that we lost on September 11th. Everybody on Flight 93, at the Pentagon, and at the World Trade Center. What I want to share with you today, and bear with me if I take a little longer because I really want it to affect the kids, is my story, our story. Because my story is your story. It's an American story. I came here from Colombia, South America when I was 2 years old. My mom and dad brought me to this country with seeking the American dream. They were very hard workers. My dad was a welder, my mom was a beautician. They put us through Catholic school. I went to high school. When it's time to graduate, I didn't go to college. I went into the U.S. Navy because I felt that I wanted to give back to this nation that gave my family so much. I served on the USS Tripoli, LPH-10, for 4 years. Came out, went to school, and started pursuing my dream, which was to become a police officer. It took me 6 long years to become a cop. I was trying to be a cop in Hackensack. During that time period, I met my beautiful wife, Allison. We had a little girl. And I remember trying to be a cop, and I remember my mother-in-law, probably the 5th year saying, hey, what are you doing? You're still trying to be a cop. And I said, you know what? Would you say the same thing to me if I was trying to be a doctor? Because sometimes it takes 10 years to be a doctor, right? And she said, no, I wouldn't. I said, well, why would you say that to me just because I'm trying to be a police officer? So what I'm telling you there is no matter what your dream is, don't let anybody stop you from attaining your dreams or going after them, especially yourself. At that 6th year, I got on the Port Authority Police of New York and New Jersey. So we're police officers in both states. We have all the airports, the bridges, the tunnels, so all major transportation, the bus terminal, the World Trade Center. Went to the academy in 2000, August 2000, graduated January 19th. 2001 at the World Trade Center. We were the centennial class, the 100th class. We were a special class. And I remember when they put when I put my shield on and I was sworn in, I felt like I achieved a great, great dream that I've been after. 6 weeks before the attacks, I attained what I felt was the American dream. Me and my wife Allison bought our first home in Clifton, New Jersey. She was pregnant now with our second little baby coming, and life was good. It was good. On the morning of 9/11, I got up like I did every day, got ready for work. I walked into the bedroom, kissed Allison goodbye, kissed her belly, walked into the other room and kissed my little girl, Bianca, goodbye. And my job was never a job to me. I love being a police officer. So it was never work for me. I would skip down the stairs every morning and jump into an old Bronco 2. And I was a rookie cop, so I didn't have much money. So the side view mirror was busted. I used to put duct tape on it so it'd stay up. And I drove into the city. Drove into the city and went downstairs in the locker room. And something I'm going to teach you kids right now that I promise you will remember me forever. You never outgrow high school. I don't care. I've met presidents. I've met a lot of people. High school stays with you the whole time. The joking, the stuff like that. Sometimes you'll be a professional, be like, man, people are acting like they're in high school. Went down into the locker room and sure enough, everybody was acting like they're in high school. Full grown men, making jokes and you're laughing. And it was a good thing. Put on our uniforms, went up to what we call roll call. That's where we're assigned our positions for the day at the bus terminal. So the bus terminal, for you guys who haven't been there, that's the largest bus terminal in the country. There's 2 huge buildings in the middle of Manhattan. We were given our post. My post was 3-5, which was on the corner of 42nd and 8th Avenue. I went out there, and what we have at the Port Authority in the morning at the bus terminal is called the rush. That means everybody's coming in from Connecticut, New Jersey, upstate New York, and thousands of people coming by. So we're positioned so we can help people with information. If someone has a medical emergency, of course, stop any type of crime. So I was standing in front of the building on the corner of 42nd and 8th Avenue, looking at the doors, watching everybody come out. And there's an awning above me, so I can't see up. I could see the corner of 42nd 8th, and Sergeant Ross and 2 other officers were there. And I'm standing there, and I saw Sergeant Ross looking up. So I kind of looked over to the corner of 42nd 8th Avenue. You guys been to New York City, right? You know how big a city square block is right there when the intersection, when you're crossing? So all of a sudden, I saw a shadow come over the whole block. It covered the whole block. I didn't think anything of it. but I saw Sergeant Ross going like this. A little while later, our radios crackled, and it said 8:40 for all the officers. That's our code for everybody come back to the police desk. So we start walking to the police desk, and I hook up with another officer, Dominic Pizzullo. Dominic was my classmate from the academy, and he said to me, Willie, something bad must have happened for us to all get called back. And I said, yeah, it had to be. Now, Dominic, believe it or not, didn't want to be a police officer. He was a high school teacher in the Bronx. But he came over to the Port Authority Police because of the benefits and the money. But in those 9 months leading up to September 11th, he understood what it meant to be part of the thin blue line, be a police officer, a family. But his kids would still come back from the high school to ask him to come back to be a teacher. That's the influence he had as a teacher. And as a police officer, he was a great cop. So we started going back to the police desk. We went around the police desk. And as I looked up into the police desk, I would see the sergeants, the lieutenants, the captains. But there was one sergeant I admired very, very much, Sergeant John McLaughlin. I had been to several gun calls with him, some other things, and he was always a professional, someone that knew his job very, very well. But I could see concern in his face, which made me kind of feel, oh, something's up. So as we come back into what we call our reserve room, our break room, New York One, a television news station in New York was on, and all I saw on the television set was the World Trade Center with a big black gaping hole in it and smoke coming out of it. As Port Authority police officers, we do everything your police department does. What we do additionally is we're first responders and any type of airplane crash, any type of situation, we're cross-trained in firefighting as well. And those are things that were taught to us in the academy, but sometimes you get taught things you think it's never going to come true. And one of the things that we were taught was you're going to do everything else like other cops do, but we deal with terrorists because we were struck in 1993. How many of you kids remember, have you been taught that in 1993 the World Trade Center was attacked? How many know that? Okay, for those you don't know, the terrorists attacked the World Trade Center in 1993, and the senior Port Authority police officers would always tell us, the rookies, one day those terrorists are coming back for those buildings, because those buildings, the World Trade Center represented the strength of America.